Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the latest in our series of Facebook Live sessions. Tonight, we're going to be talking about Panasonic heat pumps and 𝗻𝗲𝗄 working with them. I'm joined tonight by James, who you all know, but also by Mark from Drayton and Richard and Paul from Panasonic. I'm going to let themselves introduce themselves first. So, Mark, if you want to crack on.
Yeah, thanks, Claire. Hi, everybody. I'm head of partnerships here at Drayton Controls. Been working for us guys for about 7 years, and yeah, really excited to talk to you tonight about the new and industry first Panasonic integration with 𝗻𝗲𝗄.
Richard and Paul, maybe not together.
Hello, everybody. My name's Paul Taylor. I'm the UK sales manager for Panasonic Heat Pumps.
Hi everyone, I'm Richard Bishop, Head of Marketing for Panasonic Heating and Cooling. Really, again, here to help explain this new exciting partnership.
Fabulous. So let's start with a bit of an overview. Can you tell us, between the three of you, a little bit about the background about this partnership and how it sort of came about, why, and a bit of detail for the guys?
Richard, shall I start?
Please do.
Yeah, okay. So Schneider Electric, that Drayton is the parent company of Drayton, and Panasonic have been partners for quite a few years, and quite a few global projects that we've been working on. We just knit together really nicely as global leading sustainability companies. So when the opportunity arose about 12 months to have some more detailed conversations about 𝗻𝗲𝗄 and how we could go forward and look to integrate the 𝗻𝗲𝗄 heat pump with the Panasonic Aquaria heat pump with the 𝗻𝗲𝗄 smart controls, it was something we were really, really excited about. I think one of the key things for us, we partner with many, many companies across the globe and partner with lots of businesses in the UK as well. But it's important that those partners have the same sustainability goals and the same drives in the business as we do. And Panasonic absolutely hit all of those on the head. So, yeah, Richard, anything to add to that?
Well, again, just from our perspective, the partnership between Panasonic and the powerhouse that is Schneider, it just fitted really nicely. We both have strong environmental credentials. We're both driving towards net zero 2050. And ultimately, if the world is going to improve, if we're going to move forward as an industry, as a renewables industry, effectively, we need to all start to work together. We need to bring combined solutions to the market instead of mixing up all these software solutions. So it was a real nice opportunity to do something different and lead the way.
Right. And what does the partnership mean? What does it like? So the collaboration of 𝗻𝗲𝗄 with Panasonic heat pumps, what does that mean? What does it look like? What's the sort of scenario? How does it work?
So effectively, the partnership is one of bringing two devices together to work seamlessly. So we have the Panasonic Smart Cloud, which is aimed at installers, and we'll probably talk about that in a moment. It brings benefit for consumers, but it only ever allowed control of the heating and hot water. Coupled with the 𝗻𝗲𝗄 situation and that whole product range that gives the consumer so much more benefit and real benefit around energy resilience and energy efficiency, the two working seamlessly together and tried and tested and developed to work together on an electronic basis with one single account logon. That's where this is going. It was about minimizing the number of apps and the number of logons that anyone needs to run their home.
I think for me as well, Claire, the future in the UK of the heating sources people are going to use in their homes is changing all the time. I think, we've seen a lot announced by the government over the last few months and years, and things are really, really moving on at a pace. And, 𝗻𝗲𝗄 is not a new product in terms of being in the market. We've got a lot of success, a lot of connections out there. But I think it would be fair to say most of those connections are with traditional heat sources. They're with gas and oil boilers. So it was important for us, as we're learning about those new heat sources as well, and what effect that has on 𝗺𝗲𝗺 and how 𝗺𝗲𝗺 can complement that new technology, to get in with one of the market leaders and global leaders as soon as we can. And again, that's what this partnership offers us.
Fantastic. And Richard, does this apply to all Panasonic heat pumps, or is it just a specific range, or what?
So yeah, to answer that question, Claire, it's all of the 𝗺𝗺𝗺𝗺𝗺 range of Panasonic heat pumps. That's the entire range, obviously with a traditional wet system. So at the moment, it doesn't work if you want the cooling function of a heat pump. So obviously a heat pump is different, and Paul, you can explain this, can't you, better than I can? But a heat pump is different in that it can cool as well as heat. So effectively, to do that, you have to have a different type of radiator. And at the moment, this partnership doesn't cover that, but that is something we're clearly working on for the future. I don't know if you want to expand on that at all.
Yeah, I think when we look at the home sector, so one other thing that we haven't mentioned is route to market, where it's also very important. So the route to market for the 𝗺𝗺𝗺𝗺 product and the Panasonic product is through exactly the same wholesale network. So you're not having to go somewhere else. It's the same group, same buying point. But in terms of heat pumps, the three types is the monoblock, which is the most traditional in the UK market at the moment. There's the bi-block, where you've got refrigerant-based side, and the all-in-one system. So effectively, you've got the hot water, the heat exchanger all in one point. But what it gives us is the ability on that system to have cooling as well, which is also available under the bus scheme, and also was available under RHI, which is a huge thing. And the other thing that we have, which is still through the 𝗺𝗺𝗺 system as well, is the word hybrid is used a lot. We need a hybrid system. The Panasonic system across the range is hybrid compatible. So again, if you've got a customer who doesn't really want to get rid of their oil system yet, you can actually have the oil system and the heat pump running side by side and controlled by the heat pump, and it will switch if it thinks that it'd be more efficient to use the oil side or LPG, for example. But the system is intelligent, and that intelligence transfers through to the 𝗺𝗺𝗺𝗺 system as well. So there's a raft of things that we can do, but the control system itself is key for the end user, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is perfectly timed for subsidy and support for the retrofit market. You know, at the moment, the government are offering under the bus scheme
£5,000.
Exactly, £5,000 per boiler, provided you take a boiler out. So it's what do you want to do, how do you want to run, and where do you have comfort in the technology?
Excellent. So back to your point about the benefit to the homeowners, Mark, do you want to expand a little bit on how this partnership of 𝗺𝗺𝗺𝗺𝗺 and Panasonic heat pumps brings more benefit to the homeowners, and sort of expand a little bit about what they are?
Yeah, so I think the great thing is that 𝗺𝗺𝗺 and the benefits that you get from using a 𝗺𝗺𝗺 system, the multi-room control, the use of smart plugs, the Insights Plus and Insights, where you're able to connect 𝗺𝗺𝗺𝗺 to your home system and understand your energy usage, linked to your smart meter, as long as it's the right type, as long as it's a SMETS2 smart meter. All of that, all of those benefits work really, really well with the Panasonic heat pump as well. So the great thing is that the installer will come along, he will set up the most efficient way he can the Panasonic heat pump, and then the homeowner doesn't have to worry about that. They can then fit and forget about that. The great benefits then come forward is when it's in the winter and you only want to heat the rooms that you're using and set time and temperature schedules to pull through the heat that's being generated by your heat pump, then you're able to do that with 𝗺𝗺𝗺𝗺𝗺. Then you're able to do that with the multi-room control. All of the comfort benefits you get from that are all of use to you. So it's adding additional kind of comfort and efficiency settings for the homeowner on top of all the actual benefits that the heat pump gives over a traditional gas boiler system.
Fantastic. And Richard, do you want to expand a little bit on the benefit of this partnership that are brought to the installer? So, obviously we're talking to these guys on the Facebook group tonight, how does this benefit them?
So the first point, we've got to help the installer make these transitions. We've got to make this a saleable object. We've got to help them understand that. So imagine being able to sell extra benefit on top of the usual that they get from fitting a product and a heating solution. So they're able to really talk about things they're used to. They're really able to talk about energy management, but for the first time, that energy management that they're selling is coupled with a truly energy efficient product. So you're getting benefit on top of benefit. Secondly, and more importantly for the installer themselves, they've got the actual smart cloud itself. And the smart cloud is a very clever device from Panasonic. It allows the installer and Panasonic to be able to see that heat pump's operation, to remotely monitor that heat pump, to be able to see when things go wrong, and ultimately react to that and know before they turn up what part they need to bring if there's something there. Or if someone has done what they always do and go and play with the settings, you can quickly remotely fix that. So effectively, without wasting time going to site and losing half a day or the travel time or whatever else, you can very quickly assess, maintain and repair with minimal fuss. And I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Paul.
No, I think there's two sides to it. I think number one thing we haven't mentioned is the fact that the link between the 𝗺𝗲𝗺𝗀𝗃 system and the heat pump is a full API connection. So it's not just switch on, switch off. It's a fully communicated system. So they are intrinsic to each other. And when we look at the remote monitoring that we do, we have three. You have a screen, you can have it in your office, or we can monitor, whoever needs to monitor can monitor. You get three colors: green, heat pump's fine. The most important one is the orange light. The orange light is the heat pump saying there is either something that's not quite right, and that could be, for example, it's not optimized enough. So the machine itself is intelligent and is saying, I can be more efficient. So it's asking you or us to look at the system and either change the heat curve or look at the operation. It could be the customer hasn't cleaned the filter on the water side. So you change the filter, take it out, and the flow increases and the system itself works better. It could be anything that, or it could be people fiddling with the controls, whatever. But it says it's not happy. And we can go and do that remotely and fix that remotely. The third option is when it goes red. And when it's gone red, unfortunately, the system is not working properly. The system itself will try and maintain operation if it can. If it can operate, it will still go red and say there's something wrong, but it will tell you exactly what's wrong with it. So again, it means when you go to a client, you know exactly what's wrong with it, exactly what component parts take, and that fix is much, much quicker. So again, like all installations, fitting the installation is one thing. If you have to go back once or twice and it's not your fault, it's the customer not quite sure how to operate the machine, or they've done something not quite right, it means you can do that from the comfort of your home or office, which is invaluable. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Saves loads of time. So a bit of a more practical side of it, let's talk to James about how the guys watching tonight, a lot of them know 𝗺𝗺𝗺, they use 𝗺𝗺𝗺 a lot. How does that connection to the Panasonic heat pump, what does that look like? How does that happen?
Okay, so in terms of installing the heat pump, you'll go through exactly the usual process that you would to install a connected 𝗺𝗺𝗺𝗃 heat pump. So you will go through and register for the Panasonic Smart Cloud. And what you're going to be doing, there's 2 points to this. There's the API that Paul mentioned, but there's also a physical contact, a physical connection that we are making to the heat pump. So the control that you're getting from 𝗺𝗺𝗺 isn't solely reliant on an API which has got all the foibles of being internet connected. It's got a physical connection which you will wire in to the external controls or the third-party control into the heat pump. So you'll typically be fitting a 𝗺𝗺𝗺 Kit 1, so a single-channel 𝗺𝗺𝗺 hub. It's volt-free, so you will be connecting that into the heat pump, into where you would connect your third-party controls, and the 𝗺𝗺𝗺 will be telling the heat pump via that contact when there is demand and when there isn't. What we get through the API is all the information about what the heat pump is doing. So as Paul was saying about what its condition is, whether it's red, amber or green. Now, if I just share my screen a minute, I can show you more on what the actual setup's going to look like. So the prerequisites are that we need to have the heat pump installed. It needs to be a connected heat pump. So we're going to be registering with the Panasonic Smart Cloud. Once you've done that, you will then follow the standard user journey that you would with 𝗲𝗲𝗺𝗲. So here, I have shortened this sequence down a little bit. I'm not going to show you every bit of it, but essentially you'll hit the getting started on the 𝗲𝗲𝗺 app, and it will take you through. You'll connect your phone, and ultimately you will get to this screen here where we have to define what our type of heat source is. You can see there that the default is for a gas boiler. If we click into that, you can see we've got our options. It's important that we stick that onto heat pump so that we get the modulation correct. We don't want to be cycling the heat pump as, say, 6 times an hour if it was for gas, or 3 times an hour for oil. We want heat pump where we've got much more of an on-off control. So that's a key page that we need, and a key parameter that we need to set when we're going through setting up 𝗲𝗲𝗺. Other than that, you'll follow your usual route through, add all your devices, and you'll ultimately get to the familiar homepage that you all know, where you've got your different zones set up with different devices in each zone. What you then need to do from here is this is where we do the linking of the API. So we've dealt with the physical connection. We've told the relay how it's going to switch and indicate to the heat pump that there is a call for heat. What we now need to do is essentially link our 𝗲𝗲𝗺𝗃 cloud to the Panasonic cloud. So into our settings button in the top left, you go into your account settings. You pick up your apps and connections, and if you've been in here before, you'll be familiar with the Alexa and the Google Assistant, Wiser Energy. You'll see now we've now got the button there for Panasonic. So we click on that. You've got your terms and conditions here that you need to agree to, and once you've agreed, it then takes you through to this page where you need to put in your credentials for your Panasonic Smart Cloud. So that's why the process flow is install the heat pump, get it connected, register with the Panasonic Smart Cloud. It's going to be those details that you then use to enter into here. So you're essentially going to end up with 2 sets of details. You're going to have your Panasonic Smart Cloud credentials, and you're going to have your credentials for the 𝗲𝗲𝗺𝗺 home system. Stick your details in there, hit the sign on. Again, you need to accept how the data is being handled and what's being shared. And then you get to this, which is the confirmation that your account is linked. Now, if you go back to the home page, you won't see anything different to what you did before. Where you get the information, it comes through on Insights. And I believe that's going to be your next question, isn't it, Claire?
Well, yes, I have one just before that point, though. Does the installer do this part of it?
Does
the installer link it, or does he just help his customer to link it?
So I would say that that's very much in the homeowner domain, because to get to this stage, you've needed to have gone through and set up all your devices. The installer will then have handed the 𝗲𝗺𝗺 system over to the customer, who will then go through and do the registration and pairing as per our usual user journey. So I would say that because we're handling email addresses and passwords, that it's very likely that the customer's not going to, or the installer's not going to know. That's in the domain of the homeowner, but assisted by the installer.
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. Great. And then, so once the homeowner / installer have set that up, they've connected the APIs, they've got the clouds talking to each other. What different information and screens does the homeowner see? What sort of thing can they see?
So in terms of the home screen, you don't see any difference. So you've got your respective zones that you've set up. Again, you don't know what devices are in there. All you're interested in here as the homeowner is what the zones are set at, what the ambient temperature is, and what the set point is at the moment, and whether there is a call for heat. Where you see the difference is when you go into the Insights page. So that's the button on the bottom right-hand corner. You're all familiar with the usual insights that you get where we talk about what your usage is. You can see this. We've got this extra tile here now for the Panasonic heat pump. So this tile just gives you a brief overview of what's going on. So it shows you that it's in heating mode. As we talked about, it can only be in heating mode unless you have the different radiators, the different emitters. It tells you that there's no faults and no connected and no faults detected. Again, that will, if there's anything on that traffic light system that Paul talked about, that would be fed back to there. And then if you click through on this, it then gives you a bit more information about what's going on with the heat pump itself. So again, any faults or any issues that the homeowner needs to be made aware of, It's flagged up at the top there, and then we've got some breakdown on what the actual flow temperatures go at and what's going on in each respective zone. So that's what this data here is all coming through the cloud to cloud, the API side of that. None of this is being used for control. Your control is still through that physical contact that's wired between the hub and the Panasonic heat pump.
Okay, great. Just a quick one on those diagnostics where you've got your red, amber, green up at the top. Does it give detail, or is that something that you have to maybe look at on a bigger screen or on the cloud side of it, the Panasonic cloud side of it?
I don't know, because I've never seen it other than have no faults. So I don't
know. I can
really
answer that question, James.
Okay, go Mark.
I can answer that question. So because we've got a direct connection to Panasonic's API, the information that would be shared on the status in the Panasonic Smart Cloud is the information that you'll see that we will mirror in the 𝗺𝗲𝗺𝗏 app as well. So that will give you a call to action, but obviously as a homeowner, in most cases it's the homeowner that's engaging with the 𝗺𝗲𝗺 app. They see that status, but then the installer should also see that status in the Panasonic Smart Cloud arena as well.
Okay.
Can I just add one other thing? The other thing that will happen is if that system goes orange, the homeowner will get an email from either the installer, Panasonic, or the service company to say, we have noticed something with your heat pump. Give us permission to go and do this. It won't affect your heat pump. We want to go and do it for this reason. So the end user will also get an email saying, we have spotted something. We'd like to do some work. And the other thing, if on the graph you saw, if you can go back to the graph page, the one just before that page, I haven't got my glasses on, so I can't see, but normally what you can see there is you'll see the coefficient of performance. So when you're talking about energy, the customer can see how efficient the machine is. So most questions are, well, how efficient is it? Well, on every single day, it will be slightly more efficient or less efficient. So you can see either your yearly usage, or you can see how it's working through the summer, through each month. And the coefficient of performance means is that, like a gas boiler, you put a gas boiler in, and there's a small drop in capacity of this boiler as it's running through. In the form of a heat pump, what happens is for every kilowatt of energy you put in, you will get anywhere from 3 to 7 kilowatts of energy out of the machine. Coefficient of performance. How efficient is it? And this is what this will tell you. So if a customer end user wants to know if their machine is efficient, it can see it. And this is where our system, when it goes orange, will say this isn't correct for the outside air temperature, the flow temperatures, the temperatures you want in the property. Something's not quite right. It's not broken, but we can make it more efficient. And that's the key. So we tend not to have breakdowns as such. What we tend to see is either someone has gone into a setting and changed it. And the good thing is you can go back 7 days and say, have you done anything? The customer says no. And you can go back and say, on Wednesday at 10 o'clock, this happened. We've reset it for you. We've set it back up as standard, and you'll see the system working properly, no problem. So that's the advantage we bring on our cloud service. But then when you put the two together, so you've got cloud service and you've got complete control of the 𝗺𝗲𝗺 system. So that's where the benefits come from. And the fact that it is completely API controlled. You don't see that link as such. You do on the controls, but it's nothing you need to worry about. It's the only one that you can actually API link to that control. So no one else can do it.
Brilliant. Thank you. I've just got a question about training, Richard, if you want to give us a bit of detail. So obviously the guys that are watching tonight who are thinking about transitioning over to heat pumps or considering it, wondering where to go, what to do you guys have a training program or any sort of loyalty scheme that we can help these guys with or promote and send a link and stuff?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. I think there are two elements there. Firstly, that there's official accredited training that installers will need to go through if they're going to make a conversion. And then there's product awareness training. Now, product awareness training is available free of charge at any of our 5 training centres around the country. They can find and book onto those for free through Pro Club. So Pro Club is a free online portal which they can gain access to, and there's a whole host of different support materials in there and different tools and different references, again, all aimed at helping people come through. If anyone has any issue, feel free to email us or contact us, and we will certainly help you, push you in the right direction. In terms of loyalty, loyalty is our pro partner scheme, and effectively we always look forward to embracing new installers into the scheme. That means that you've done training. It means that you're trained and able to fit a heat pump, and effectively you're then being endorsed by Panasonic as someone we will push and promote. So you'll get promoted on the website and you'll get support. But even better than that, we'll give you some money towards marketing funds to help you with your business, and we'll give you rewards. So points make prizes scenario, and there's a whole host of rewards that they can gain access to through an online portal. They also gain extra warranty for being a part of the program. That's up to 7 years. And that's a big thing. That helps with the market. So effectively a whole host of different opportunities. If somebody's looking for fully accredited training to really sort of make that move and really come over, maybe even as far as F-gas, which is what you need if you're going to start fitting the splits. You don't need an F-gas for the average product fitted in the UK, which is a monoblock. So for that training, you can just get some product awareness and some understanding. And as long as you're a certified plumber with all the right qualifications, then there's no reason you can't start to move into that territory today. Where it gets complicated is if you move into other types of products, such as the split, as we've said. And for that, we have support causes for there. We have connections. We can put you in touch with people. And we have partners who run 𝗵𝗲𝗁𝗍 training, who run LCL training, who run all the courses that you need to follow, Foundation Part 1 and 2, etc., to be able to get there. We also have the ability to support people through MCS. So if somebody wants to go all the way to be able to sort of really benefit from that subsidy that's available to end users, then we can put them in touch with our partners, and again we can support them through MCS training. And certainly at our Mansfield Training Centre, there is a scheme there we can take people through, and also with one of our partners, Optimum, we can help people become MCS. And obviously that's the ultimate end result of someone moving into the renewable sector, but that isn't necessary for the average install, certainly on new build, where that sort of subsidy and support is not relevant at all. That really comes in if you're going to work in the retrofit market.
I think the other thing is all of our training is free. So our view on it is if we train people for free, then you're investing your time, and we're investing our time. So I don't see the benefit in charging someone for that. And I think if you talk about a monoblock, which is normally installed by plumbing or heating engineers, that's about 90% of the market. If you wanted to go into the other side of the market, we ought to do a buddying up scheme. So if you're installing, I don't know, let's pick a location, let's say Exeter, for the sake of argument, we will find a F-gas registered installation company and buddy them up with you. So it gets you past that issue if you need to do that. And when it comes to warranty terms, again, the more you buy into Panasonic, the more that Panasonic supply, which is again, it's a benefit for everybody.
Absolutely. Well, it sounds like there's loads of support coming from you guys in terms of the training and the loyalty schemes, which is fantastic news. What I'll do is I'll get the link to those to the Pro Club and the Pro Partner schemes from Richard, and I will post on the chat on here tomorrow. So you guys can all have a look, and you can see if it's something that you want to do and what you can get out of it. Sounds like fun. I think we've not had any questions come in, but if anyone has anyone got anything else to add, or have we kind of covered everything for now?
No, from my side, I think it's been great. This is, as I say, it's industry first. It's something really new for the market, for our customers, for hopefully our new customers for Panasonic as well. I would just say keep your eyes peeled in the market. This is really exciting. It's a great launch, but we're also looking at how we can make it even deeper and even more interesting for the installers. So keep your eyes peeled on social media, on Facebook, because we're planning quite another big launch to support you guys with selling this through and offering some additional benefits to your customers as well. So we look forward to feeding that to you in the coming weeks. Brilliant.
Okay. Well, thank you everyone for joining tonight, and thanks to all of those of you who were watching. And we'll say goodnight for now and have a nice evening, and we'll see you next week.